Okay, lot. So today we'll be talking all about subjugation, right? I'm gonna try to keep this video quite quick, right? What I want to do with this video is give you an example of a team that is extremely free-to-play friendly, and I'm talking so free-to-play friendly that in fact you're probably gonna be able to build it on like day 2 of playing the game, right? And this team, when used in manual mode, it will take quite a bit of time in the run, because the units in this piece of content are quite tanky, especially when it comes towards level 9 and 10. However, this team is so safe that you will be able to easily clear it even a few days into the game, right? Of course, all of it depends on your equipment, but trust me, this team will make it super easily clearable. I've given a similar teams to a few people on Discord who've just started, and they've had success clearing all of the subjugation with it. So yeah, I'm just gonna share it via video, right? Without further ado, I'm just gonna showcase the team and explain a bit how it works, right? Honestly, with this team, you only really need 2 units. The other 2 units that you can place in the team will be based on which element you are fighting, right? So you can substitute units such as maybe you're missing some mana cycling, maybe you're missing buffs, maybe you're missing heals, right? But the core of the team is gonna be 1 Theodore and 2 any healer that you have, right? There is 1 free healer that you get at the start of the game, and that is Siri. This is actually my preferred healer for this specific team, right? But you can also use any other healer that you have. And trust me, you will need a little bit of healing. You don't need a lot of it, right? For skill-based healers, you'll only need to use their skills maybe like once every 3 or 4 turns. But units like Chloe, units like Anna's, units like, I believe she also heals, right? But the reason I prefer Siri is gonna be because a lot of her healing comes from her passive, and the amount of healing that comes from her passive is enough for you to sustain Theodore getting hits, which means that you can essentially keep using her basic attacks, and without using any skills, you're actually generating mana from her as well, right? And now for the shocking fact is, I know you won't believe it, but that's actually it. This is all you need in order to beat all of these dungeons, right? And the reason why this is enough, first of all, when it comes to subjugation, the units that are available in subjugation do rotate every time a patch happens, right? So for now, it rotates every 4 weeks. There have been, I believe, 4 different subjugation bosses by now, and this team does not work on every single boss. I believe there is 1 boss that has an AoE basic attack, which will be significantly harder to beat. But for any boss that has a single hit basic attack, this team will absolutely delete it, right? And the reason why it completely counters the boss is Theodore's first skill. Rank 1 deals 166% of defense as damage and has a 75% chance to taunt for 1 turn. Now, taunt is essentially like an upgraded silence, right? Both taunt and silence do not allow the enemy to use any active skills, right? But on top of that, taunt is a little bit of an upgrade because the boss is also forced to attack the unit that provoked him, right? And in a lot of cases, it's gonna be Theodore. As long as you keep spamming Theodore's skill 1 on the boss, and as long as the taunt lands, you will be able to take pretty much 0 damage. Because here's the deal, this boss, it can do a lot of nasty effects, it can do a lot of damage. What it will never do is kill you with the basic attack. The basic attacks on these subjugation bosses are super weak, and as long as you are able to provoke them with Theodore, you will pretty much not receive any damage. And now for the units that you want to be adding next to these 2, right, is anything that would either A, allow your Theodore to land the provokes a little bit more successfully, or B, anything that would speed up the runs so that there is less Theodore provoke RNG needed, right? So if you want to just speed up the runs, if you're confident in your Theodore landing debuffs, or rather the taunt debuff consistently, you can go for some sort of a damage. So for example, if we are fighting a water-based boss, right, naturally you want to look into maybe some wind-based damage dealer. So for example, Yuri is a very strong damage dealer for stuff like this. You can add something like a Diana or an Ivy. They will allow you to control a little bit. Plus both Yuri and Diana have a slowness debuff, which is a very good debuff if you do manage to land it, because it will allow your Theodore, not just Theodore, but your whole team to move a lot more often. And just in case Theodore misses his provokes, he will usually have a second turn, which allows him to try to land another one, right? One more unit that I would highly recommend, regardless of which element you fight, would be Stein, right? Here's the deal. Her second skill, in case your Theodore misses the provoke, she is able to boost Theodore with her second skill. This will give him 60% attack gauge, and in a lot of cases, if he does miss one provoke, he will usually land it on his second turn, and that amount of attack gauge boost usually will allow him to cut in, as long as your Theodore has a little bit of speed on his build, right? On top of that, she has an amazing passive which allows you to cycle a bunch of mana, which means that you will never have any mana issues with a core team of 3 like this, right? And the best part is she also has an amazing ultimate which buffs everyone's attacks and defense for 3 turns, which means that attack buffs, this boosts damage of every single unit, whether they are a damage dealer or not. This increases the sustain of Theodore, which means you need less healing when he does get hit. And on top of that, because he's death based, it actually boosts his damage as well, right? So yeah, if we try something like this, I'm gonna use this team, plus I'm gonna add something like a damage dealer. So let's say we are gonna fight the wind-based boss, so I'm gonna go for Yuri as my DPS, and let's try out the run. I'll showcase how simple it is to easily control the boss. Okay, and one more thing I want to mention about Theodore, right, and regarding stats of all your units. Honestly, you really don't need to have a lot of stat requirements. Now, I have progressed through the game quite a bit, so my stats might be better than yours if you've just started out, right? But yeah, when it comes to the Memento, it really doesn't matter which Rememento you use on him, right? I just use the best defense Rememento that I have right now. For his gear, again, it doesn't matter which sets you use. He only really needs 2 stats. He needs a high effect hit rate, which should be priority number 1. And then he needs a little bit of speed, right? I would say, as much speed as you can give him, right? Because the more he moves, the more chances he has to land a taunt, and effect hit rate to ensure that he is able to land that taunt. And one more thing I missed is, in order for this team to work consistently, you do need to have a skill up on his first skill. You don't need any skill ups on any of his other skills, but for his first skill, it is very important because the taunt at level 0 is only 45%, which is very inconsistent, right? So yeah, now that we have our team roomed up, we can try to go into a run, and I'll showcase how simple it is, right? So yeah, I'm gonna turn off the auto for this, mute the sound a bit, and yeah, all you want to do, remember, you don't want to be using second or third skills for Theodore. You only want to be spamming his basic attack, and as long as you spam his basic attacks, you'll notice that he will be able to easily taunt them. And yeah, look at that attack. For an AoE attack, it would be hitting quite hard, right? It's not gonna be like a super crazy hit, but it is gonna be doing a significant amount of damage if you are early on. However, if you do have a provoke in there, it's gonna mitigate that damage quite a bit, right? And what you can do as well is, if you want to cycle the buffs, if you want to cycle the mana, you can always use your Stein's buff on herself. This ensures that she is able to move more, and in a case where Theodore misses the provoke, you can see that she moves right after. You can boost up your Theodore and give him another chance to land the provoke, right? So yeah, we're gonna drop the second one. Oh, unfortunately I missed it, right? But another cool thing about having a DPS such as, for example, Yuri or any element advantage DPS, if you do end up eventually missing one or two provokes and you see that you're not able to cut in further, you can also always rely on the guard break, right? As long as you attack with element advantage, the guard breaks are usually gonna be dropping slowly, right? And that's why I usually do recommend having the third and fourth picks try to be element advantage, because in that case you are able to have a little bit of a safeguard just in case your Theodore decides to derp and fail both of them. So in this case you can see the boss is provoked, right? He's pretty much not doing any damage, but on top of that I also am very close to breaking the guard, and if needed my Yuri's ultimate plus her any other skill will be able to break it easily, right? For now I'm gonna save it, and yeah, pretty much one more hit, right? The boss is gonna hit Theodore. Next hit, it really doesn't matter whether I provoke or not, right? Because the boss is gonna break his guard, so I'm gonna drop an ultimate on that. And yeah, the basic concept is that pretty much, right? You just try to rely on your Theodore's provoke. CD for healing, more than enough. As you can see, I have never used any of her skills yet, and she was able to top me up very easily, right? And yeah, we're just waiting for the boss to recover. I'm gonna start breaking the guard with my Yuri again, right? Buff up with Stein just to ensure that we're doing a little bit more damage. Although what I should have done is I probably should have boosted my Stein with her own second skill, because in this case, if my Theodore misses the provoke, right, Stein would have been able to move. So it's all about mitigating the risks, right? But as you can see, the boss, it doesn't matter what equipment you have, right? The boss is simply not doing any damage pretty much, right? So in this case you will be able to easily out CC him. And even if your Theodore is super squishy, even if all of the substats on your skills are put into like effect, hit rate and speed, you will be able to beat it, right? So I'm just gonna finish off the run. I'm gonna end off the video here, right? Just leave a sped up version of the rest of the run. And yeah, very simple theme, easily doable even if you are early game. Theodore, my recommendation is CD, right? Stein would be a very good option if you're struggling with sustain, damage and mana. But apart from that, the fourth pick will be a flexible one, right? And yeah, that's pretty much it. Hope you enjoyed, and if you do have any questions regarding this, let me know in the comments. That's about it, and peace.